Welcome to the LiftOneSelf podcast. I'm your host, NatNat. I know many times that we hear people say they can do certain things, yet then there's this hesitation to actually put a dollar amount to what their services are. So I want to build the trust with the listeners and invite guests that would use me as a client and do these readings. So that means I'm in the hot seat of vulnerability, and you're going to get some insights about my personal realm. So this is going to make the dynamic of the podcast where we're really building community and growing together. So Bree, would you please introduce yourself to myself and the listeners?
Absolutely. I'm Bree Dela Cruz. I'm an Akashic Record reader and energy healer. And today we're doing an Akashic Record reading, which is essentially a reading about a person's soul and the many past lives that soul has lived, all the lessons and soul families that they've traveled forward with throughout lifetimes, as well as future possible timelines. I'm so excited to dive into your records today.
I am too. I'm curious to see what is going to unfold. Before we do, would you join me in a mindful moment so that we can ground ourselves and open up?
Yes, absolutely.
And for the listeners, as you always hear, safety first. If you're driving, please don't close your eyes. Yet every other prompt you're able to do. So, Bree, I'll ask you to get comfortable in your seating, and if it's safe to do so, gently close your eyes. And you're going to begin breathing in and out through your nose. And you're going to bring your awareness to watching your breath go in and out. You're not going to try and control your breath. Just allow it to be in its natural state, guiding you in the body. There may be some sensations or feelings coming up, and that's okay. Let them arise. You're safe to feel. You're safe to let go. Surrender the need to control. Release the need to resist and just be. Be with your breath. Drop deeper into your body. Now there may be some thoughts or to-do lists that may have popped up in the mind, and that's okay. Gently bring your awareness back to your breath, creating space between the awareness and the thoughts and dropping deeper into the body. Being in the space of presence, of being. Again, more thoughts may have popped up. Gently bring your awareness back to your breath. Beginning again, creating even more space between the awareness and thoughts, and completely surrendering into the body. Being in the space of presence, of being. Now being in the senses and in the body and in this present moment at your own time and at your own pace, you're going to gently open your eyes while staying with the breath. The floor is yours, so whenever you want to start, you can.
Thank you so much for that. That was so beautiful. Are you ready to
Yes, I
open
am.
your? Okay, beautiful. As you know, I just open your records with a prayer, so I'm going to go ahead. Do we acknowledge the forces of light, asking for guidance, direction, and courage to know the truth, as it is revealed for the highest good and highest good of everyone connected to us. O Holy Spirit of light, protect me from all forms of self-centeredness and direct my attention to the work at hand. Help me to know NatNat in the light of the Akashic Records, to see NatNat through the eyes of the Lords of the Records, and enable me to share the wisdom and compassion that the Masters, Teachers, Loved Ones, and Guides of her have for her. Okay, the records are now open. The first thing that I'm seeing when I open your records is I see you in a past life. Um, in this lifetime, it wasn't that long ago, you were in, it feels like the 1930s, 1940s. In this lifetime, you were a male climbing up a mountain. It's beautiful. It actually looks like it's like um, California or Denver, not California, Denver, because I can see the mountains and I can see like the snow on the top of the mountains. And you have a backpack on your back and you're backpacking. You have the little rod sticks and your walking sticks and you're climbing up the mountain in search of the next journey. You're alone as you're on this hike, and there's a pivot point in your life where you're looking for that next phase. It feels like they're referring to being alone as a time of solitude when you're figuring out who you want in your inner circle in this next phase and version of yourself. You're also climbing up the mountain because they're wanting to refer to the fact of your spiritual frequency increasing at this time. You're ascending, what they're saying, but you're also understanding that as you're ascending, you're kind of having to let people drop off. Does that resonate with what you're going through right now?
Hang on.
Because they're saying as this past self of yours is climbing up this mountain, it's getting rid of those boulders in the backpack, but you're feeling guilty letting it go. Sometimes when this happens, they're showing how for some people you're kind of taking the boulder and you're throwing it off the mountain, but for some other people you're taking the boulder and you're like gently letting it, placing it on the mountain and leaving it where it is. They're saying that you know who those people are and you've treated them in different ways because of how they've resonated back to you of, you know, their respect for you and what you're going through. They're also wanting to talk about how right now within your business, you're expanding, you're climbing to new heights and you're trying to acquire new information. It's almost as if you're going to this mountain for downloads of new information for your business. They're showing that you have one aspect of your business, but you're trying to add other services in the lanes. Because right now they're showing you have this platform, one pile of service that you're offering, but you're acquiring tools within this mountain to add to each of the piles to see what else you can offer to the collective. In addition to that, they're also showing how you're searching for those new friends to join in on your inner circle. Have you been thinking about business partners? Have you been entertaining that thought yet?
Not necessarily business partners, yet those that would help me develop the business. So I guess, yeah, business partners in different roles to help offload some tasks, yet
Yeah.
be in the same theme of what I want LiftOneSelf to be.
Yes, it's almost as if that is also ascending with you as well. They're also dropping in medicine offerings. Is this something that you've done or are going to do? Because they're showing how when you're in this mountain, you're searching in the forest and you're searching for the tools that you're going to use for medicine offering and herbs. So medicine, as in like the natural herbs that you would use to heal, they're dropping that in as well too. It feels like that's something that will also be incorporated into your practice. It's something you might start to dive deeper into learning about and speaking about more because it feels like that's one aspect of it as well. They're showing how your voice is like that singing bird, and so you speak a lot of truth, but it lands very softly. And so they're saying, like, in this lifetime, you're also that friend that, you know, will tell it like it is, but it lands very smooth. But they're also saying that part of that air energy, you're going to start to get into the herb energy and the smoke cleansing energy and the energy of using medicines of the earth to talk about how you're incorporating that into your daily life and how it's helping you heal and ascend. Um, it's really interesting. Have you thought about incorporating that yet too?
Not the herb, like I do on my own for my personal.
Yeah.
And then when people ask, I'll share. The medicine part, I really just probably see just the space that I hold for regulating the nervous system that a lot of people don't even understand or realize the power they have already within themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to have that medicine in different modalities that they didn't even know that they already have. They just haven't really accessed it to its full power.
Yeah, they're showing how you're helping people transition. They have this issue and they're coming to you and you're helping them start off using spiritual tools because they're not sure how to tap in internally yet. It's like someone comes to you with questions about love and you're directing them towards roses and rose quartz and things like that until they start to understand how to tap in without those tools. It's your way of helping them through their own path to get to kind of where you are. Okay, so now they're showing how this person is walking through the mountains and the fact that he is alone, but he's also wanting to highlight his relationships. In this lifetime, he was very much alone. He did something very out of the norm where he was in a relationship, he had a wife and a child, but they ended up not being together. He's wanting to highlight the fact that he is on this journey of working through tension and issues within relationship. He's and the difference between the two. And so it almost feels like in this past lifetime, he himself has gone through this spiritual awakening per se, but they didn't call it that back then, is what he's saying. And he was going through the journey of understanding how people around him were no longer in resonance with his energy, but he didn't understand what words to put that into. But he's wanting to draw to the fact that this is something that's also going on in your life as well, where the relationships around you are not understanding the frequency of where you are. Is this something that is happening in romantic relationship as well too?
I'm not in any romantic relationship, so it can be challenging to get into a romantic relationship because when I speak and there's depth, many
Yeah.
don't want to go that deep. So then it becomes it's too much. They're like, I'm drowning, so they move off.
He's laughing and he wanted to highlight that he's alone in this mountain. Not only is he alone without friends, he's single and he's searching. He's looking for that lovebird to come and land. He's wanting to draw that parallel to what is going on in your life as well. He's saying that's one of the searches you have on the back burner right now in your mind, that it has some fear that's surrounded. It's not necessarily like it won't happen, but he's wanting to highlight that that those are the reprogramming that you're working through to allow that to come into your life. He's also wanting to highlight this future partner for you when this partner is going to drop in. It feels like until the end of the year, this is your time of focusing on your business, but also working through some of the fears surrounded by romantic relationship, the fear of being not met, similar to how he didn't feel met in his frequency of what he felt during his divorce. That's kind of your journey from now until the end of the year. Don't feel discouraged by the timing of this because it feels like your focus on yourself and your business until the end of the year will take a lot of your energy and it'll come faster than you think. It does feel like you'd meet this partner in the new year in 2026. This person has their spiritual sense. And so he's kind of describing this person as they've gone through their own journey of not being understood. Kind of feels like they've been to therapy. It feels like they've spoken to friends and family about what they're going through. So they're very emotionally intelligent. They're not necessarily as spiritual as you are, but they're saying that this person will understand everything that you do because it centers around healing and helping people align and ascending their energy. And that's something that this person has done as well in their own way. This partner is very grounded, introverted, and it will balance you out because you are extroverted. Not to feel discouraged with those differences because at the core, this is like this person and your soul resonate in that sense because you do have those differences, but you still deeply understand each other and each other's journey. Did you have questions that you wanted to ask about that or about anything else?
No, yeah, I've been reflecting on that this year of what has me resisting receiving love, receiving a relationship, what fear is in the programming that is like the control. Doing this work has deep reflection. So when you are a person that can think very deeply, it can be very challenging to find that partner that
Yeah.
you can open up to and feel supported, yet also not take them in places that they don't want to go to yet, which is a balancing act in partnership because we tend to want to work on the other person rather than ourselves. So yeah, it resonates.
And he's saying one of the fears that you've had and that you're embracing and letting come up is how strong of gifts that you have. It kind of feels like for years that those have had to be hidden. Like he's showing you have so much that had to be hidden, but now you're starting to open the curtain more and let that shine through. It feels like in the past you have felt like it's been external. Other people have those gifts, and I resonate because I'm intuitive, but it's not me. I can't be the one that has those gifts too. They're saying that in the past few years and even now, as you continue your ascension, you're pulling back that curtain and understanding that you do also have those abilities yourself. You know that, right? That you're highly intuitive and you have those gifts of healing too. He's wanting you to continue to embrace that because he's also referring to the fact that in a past life you were also a medicine woman. This feels like Aboriginal, Indigenous, and that's why he's also referring to that's what drove him to look for those herbs in the mountains, have that journey as well too. Is this in your lineage? Because he's kind of drawn to the fact that this runs familial. Are you aware of that at all?
Both different sides. I know deep within my nervous systems create other nervous systems. There's deep wisdom in knowing that I cannot put into this lived experience of this part. Intuitively, things come out that are very natural that I'm like, how would I know this?
Yeah.
I tap into more of allowing source to work through me and
Mm-hmm.
letting that wisdom and knowing come through, even though it feels like a lot of the people that I'm around or I speak to, they're not there yet. So it
Yeah.
feels like I'm much further ahead than those around. So then it feels like I have to dim myself to feel that sense of belonging. Yet
Or
I've been releasing that aspect of I just have to allow what's within to flow out, and those that are ready to receive that will match into that and be amplified so that things can click for them internally.
yeah.
That lineage, I know it's very powerful, and it's like I hold space for that knowing and that knowledge to be there.
He's referring to, especially with you having to dim your light, he's saying that's what he's referring to because he's showing how you have the curtains and you're kind of holding yourself tight and then you'll let people peek the energy through. But now is your time where you're really pulling back that curtain and not to feel afraid to fully open. You'll surprise yourself with how much comes through. Right now, you've tapped into 10-15% of what truly holds within because of that fear of being seen and misunderstood. But he's also saying that once you pull back that curtain and your light is shining bright, it will start to attract those people who resonate with that light. And so once you shine fully, it's going to start attracting those people, including that partner, because the authenticity when you are fully shining, that's when that person will see you and resonate with you being in your full authenticity and true self, if that makes sense, without having to hide any aspect of yourself. Because it feels like when that person comes in, they're coming with their true authenticity without any filters. I am who I am, and this is what I've gone through, but I hold deep compassion for what you've gone through throughout life as well too. And so I see you because I can fully see you now. They're referring to lineage, mom side. So they're just wanting you to explore that after this and just keep learning about more of what she practiced because it feels like she did practice spiritual gifts behind closed doors as well. She's saying you're so lucky because in this lifetime you don't have to hide. In her lifetime, when she practiced those gifts, she could have been killed. But in this lifetime, as you practice these gifts, it's just embraced and people need people like you. So she's wanting you to explore that because she's kind of taking ownership almost, like this comes from me, but it falls down into you and it's starting to develop and flourish into who you are too. I hope that makes sense.
It does.
Okay, so he's wanting to shift back into business. Did you have any specific questions you wanted to ask your guides before I keep going? Because you can ask anything as well.
With the business, I know I'm forcing too much right now. I want to be guided in the surrender aspect of allowing myself to trust.
Okay, so he's saying that part of that mistrust or wondering why things aren't moving as fast as you want them to and why you feel the urge to push forward is coming from feelings of self-worth. Am I enough? Am I doing enough? Is what I am enough to propel myself forward, or do I need to push and pull all of these things in so that I become as successful as I want to be? I'm just asking how you can work through that and what the blockage is coming from.
I think also to ask is the fear of the success and will I be able to maintain it and not fall?
He's really just wanting to highlight community. So it first starts with working on that self-worth and pulling back that curtain of all the gifts that you have and sharing that with the world, because it kind of feels like right now you've shared a portion of that to your clients, but they're not aware of everything else that you can offer to them. It feels like you have other modalities and other gifts that you know are there, but you just are using them personally, but you feel as though you don't have the ability to offer that to other people. They're really wanting you to play with those modalities with friends and family and community that you trust so that you can strengthen that muscle of that you know that you can do this and you've seen it because you've tried it with other people. So he's really wanting you to do that because they're also wanting to draw in community. It feels like you working with other people in the community helps you be more seen by others. It feels like you do have collaborations. It's as if you hold an event, podcast an event, you're in the community and meeting other people who are helping elevate your business. In doing so, those timelines of you sustaining and growing your business are very much in reach. It's just working through that self belief and self worth. Does that make sense?
One of those gifts has to do with my hand.
They're showing a few things. They're showing you with herbs, crushing them up and using your hands and really getting in there. But they're also showing essential oils and like, do you massage or are you using energy with your hands?
I've always been told that I give great massages and that I should be a masseuse.
Yeah.
And I know intuitively how to read the body and where things are. I just haven't delved into that because
Yeah.
I know how physically demanding it can be and energetically how it can be. So
Yeah.
it's understanding that. Yet, since I've been young, that's one of the gifts that I've been told I have healing hands.
Oh my gosh, I have chills because they're just dropping in, they're showing you with the essential oils and the herbs, of course, making sure people don't have allergies or anything like that. You're incorporating it all into one offering. So it doesn't feel like people come to you for a 60-minute RMT massage and that's it. They're coming to you for more than that. They've tried regular massage in, say, like a physiotherapist's office and didn't quite work for them because you know that it's deeper than just the muscle fibers and tissues. So you're taking the herbs and the oils and you're taking into what you're seeing and what they're telling you about their physical ailments, and then you're going in and treating them. And so it's as if you do go in with the physical treatment, but you are also going to channel information about what is going on in their body and what they can do to help clear that energetically. Information will drop in where you'll be like, where the heck did that come from? But they're saying, like, you'll say, oh, drink this kind of tea and do this kind of meditation, and it just all funnels through. That's incredible. That's so exciting.
I have done this, and what scares me and what rings in my head when you say this is lawsuit. Things can happen. I also know that some may not be accountable for their inner terrain because there's a lot of emotional repression. If you release these emotions, especially the fear, and feel it in your body, there's things that open up. I see the fear when you were saying all that. I was like, oh, that's nice. I don't have my accreditation. I'm not interested in going to do all that. And I also see lawsuit, yet I also see an opening of trust because you're blocking the gift for people that it would really resonate with. I want to ask the name Natalie.
Ask them what that means.
Ask them about Natalie and see what comes through.
Before I do that, they're just wanting to drop in like the fact that you will find ways to protect yourself. So it's almost as if someone still comes to you, they still fill out an intake form as if they would when they go to a physiotherapist's office, just consenting that you don't claim to cure all ailments, but you're really here for a massage experience or something like that. And that's the way that you protect yourself. They're also saying like the people that come to you are knowing that you're in the spiritual space and this is alternative healing. To protect yourself, you do still have people sign that waiver form or whatever that looks like to you. So he's wanting you to know that's the cure to that fear, if that makes sense. Because they're really wanting to encourage you to pursue this because it's really going to open your doors to other opportunities as well, because you will meet people through your clients.
Yeah, I know.
They come with tough love. Okay. They're referring to, like, I don't know if she's a girlfriend, but they're almost referring to sister or a close girlfriend. It feels like there was conflict or some kind of tension between the two. They're just saying, like, didn't meet eye to eye on certain things before. Was she a business partner, close friend before, or what's that?
Sister.
Okay.
Sister.
Was the question of, are you going to want to go into business with her? Is she in a similar line of work? Because they're kind of just showing like, didn't meet eye to eye, something's going on there.
Ask what the conflict is to show what the conflict is.
They're referring to jealousy. I'm just trying to ask what that means. It kind of feels like you are going for the same aspiration, but then one person, there's a little bit of jealousy there.
No.
They're just wanting to keep that in mind, not to scare you away if this is something that you're wanting to pursue with friendship, but they're just wanting like you to know that if you do choose to get into a business relationship, just to make sure that you consistently stay on the same page. It feels like when one person does something, the other person feels like they want to do that too, which can be beautiful and can work out. Just always remain on the same page so that it doesn't feel like one person is doing more than the other or one-upping the other. They're saying that this relationship can work out very well as long as you remain in balance and in sync. What can happen sometimes is because you do have similarities. If one person wants to do this and the other person doesn't quite understand, this person feels like they're being left behind, out of the loop. That makes sense?
I want to ask with Natalie, did I use my gifts with Natalie?
Did she come to you with an illness of some sort? It kind of looks like she came to you for help. This is what they're showing. I'll just let you unpack. They're showing that she comes to you and there's something happening energetically, like some sort of imbalance. She comes to you for help and it feels like you did help get that imbalance. Feels like after she left you, she did realize things that occurred in her body that were healing. Was that validated to you after the fact?
Mm-hmm.
It feels like it's almost as if she comes and she's at her wit's end almost, or she's not sure how else to help cure what's happening internally. And when she came to you, it did, and she was better off for it. He's saying that your guide is saying this is something you do often, but not everyone has come back to you with the validation of what you've helped them with. He's wanting you to know that you've done this for other friends. So like other friends have come to you in the past, or other family members have come to you in the past with an ailment. You've helped them and you're just like, did that do anything? And some of them don't even believe that that was from you, but he's wanting you to know that it was resonates today. He wants you to understand the true power that you have, because it kind of feels like instead of peeking behind the curtain, you have to step into that light and keep going. Because again, it's just those fears that are circulating, but you're slowly trying to clear them off. That is so aligned for you. And he wants you to continue pursuing that and understand that those fears are just fears. They're not blockages telling you not to do that. That makes sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Do you have any questions before I close?
How do I better myself?
He's saying you continuing to practice with other people is going to show you quickly that you can trust your abilities and the way you're navigating through your life and business. For your business, for example, as you're going out into community and you're meeting other people, people will start to see all that you offer and the light you have, the energy and the frequency that you carry yourself in. And they're going to really resonate with you and be drawn to you and want to work with you. And so for that, it's going to help you understand what other people see that you're not quite seeing just yet. And then for your spiritual abilities and your gifts and your ability to work with your hands, it feels like you do take some sort of course just so that you're reacquainted with the physical body and so that you feel more comfortable taking on clients who are not friends and family. It feels like you still do that. It isn't the full same program, but it does feel like you go back to school and take some sort of course to learn just a little bit more so that you feel like you have that foundation. It also feels like, as far as your spiritual gifts, that you'll also incorporate into that side of your business. That comes from you practicing with friends. You practice with friends and you're just having fun. But then friends of friends want to see you as well. And so that's going to start building your trust, because he's saying that right now, all the gifts are kept at home and they're kept internally. But as you start to open the door and play with other people, get out into the community, it's going to start to feel more comfortable for you to strengthen that your abilities and strengthen your belief in yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it
Beautiful.
does.
Okay, I'm going to close the record. I would like to thank the masters, teachers, and loved ones for their support and guidance. I would like to thank the lords of the Akashic Records for their point of view. And I would like to thank the Holy Spirit of Light for all knowledge and healing. The records are now closed. The records are now closed. The records are now closed. Amazing.
Thank you.
Yes. I hope that resonated with you and you got some nuggets of information.
Yeah, about 80% of it resonated. The part with Natalie, you see, Natalie transitioned in November. She had pancreatic cancer. They gave her 3 months to live, yet she lived for 18 months. And
Wow.
I know it's due to me regulating her nervous system, massaging out parts and stuff like that. Therefore, that's why I asked, was the gift part of, and I already know, it's just hearing it from a different perspective. And that's why I say the healing hands of massaging and touching at that aspect. It resonated a lot. And it's like, okay, because I've done the work and I'm open so I can receive this information and it flows very well. Because when I've done past live and when I've done the meditation, there is a man there. When the man was there, what I smelt was like burning wood, and it felt hot and very enduring, like not able to do that inner work, just really in survival mode and don't have time for emotions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So when you start off with the man, I was like, okay, all right. Let's hear what the information is, and it resonates. So I know for some listeners hearing this, it might off-put them or they think this is made up or whatnot. I can say from my own lived experience, 80% of this resonated. And we don't know each other. As you said before we started recording, you didn't want to hear anything about me so that it came out naturally and didn't feel forced. And as you saw, the questions that I gave, it was prompting to see what more information would be there that would be truth. So I thank you for sharing this and doing this reading live, because not everybody would be open to wanting to do this and showing what their gifts are. My question is, when did you drop into this gift?
So my opening to spirituality or alternative healing really started as a young child. My mom was a teenage mom, and so for part of my life, I spent my life living with my grandparents. My grandpa was 57 years old, super strong man, huge Bruce Lee fan, had an at home gym, blasting music, big muscles. Health was his number one thing, but at 57 years old, he experienced headaches. He went to the doctors. They found out that he had a tumor in his brain, about the size of a golf ball, intertwined into his brain. He did 33 rounds of chemo, didn't change the size of the tumor. So he went home to the Philippines because he wanted to visit his mom for the last time. And so my family all went with them to the Philippines to visit, to say like his last goodbye. At that point, they gave him 6 months left to live. My great grandma, I have a picture of her right there actually. She's one of my angels and my guides. She didn't know to what extent his illness was, but she just knew he was sick. She brought healers and shamans from the community in the Philippines to help heal what was going on. They did energy healings on him for 7 hours a day, 7 days straight, sun up to sundown. My grandma would cook everyone food. At this point, he was so sick from all the chemo that he couldn't walk. He was gray, feeding from the bag. But after the third day, he was able to change his own clothes. He started eating again. After the seventh day, he was able to walk around the perimeter of the house, and he started gaining back color into his skin. 2 weeks later, he was able to drive, which they took his license away. He came back to Canada. They ran the tests on him, and the tumor was gone. They couldn't believe it. And the doctor said, I don't know what you did in the Philippines. I can't advise you to do whatever that woo woo stuff is, but just keep doing it. I don't share this gift to say that energy healing cures all cancer and all illnesses, but I do share this to say that it did open my grandpa's eyes to an alternative way, and he was someone who didn't believe in. I share this because it can work for people, or at least shift the perspective or help them heal. He's 78 years old today and still kicking it. That is what really opened my eyes at such a young age. I think I was 10, 11 years old when this was all happening. Watching him through that time of his life and still living today really opened my eyes. Since then, I have other family members who are into healing and do theta healing and energy healing and are intuitives as well. I just started learning
and growing.
I continuous learning as well.
I want to ask you, if your pain could say something, what would it say right now?
I think it depends on the person, but a lot of the time it does come from some sort of stress.
Mm.
But it really does depend, because when the energy healers were working on my grandpa, they were doing a lot of the inner work. They were asking him questions about times in his life that he regrets or things like that. Unfortunately, it really does depend.
But if your pain could speak, what would it say?
My pain, oh, I would say my pain would be perfectionism, because that's something that I grew up with my entire life, but I'm working through, because people are perfect the way they are. They don't have to be perfect.
Yeah. It's a safety part of the nervous system because of the way belief systems are set up and judgment and stuff like that. So feeling safe in this world. I want to bring you into a reflective question. I want to ask, what would your past self say to you right now?
My past self would say that anything that I truly desire is possible. And if I had told that to myself 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, she would laugh at me because, how do you believe that? But I now know that anything that you desire and continuously desire is truly possible and is likely on one of your possible timelines that are close to you.
What would your future self say about fear?
I think that fear is welcomed, because on the other side of fear is usually something really great and grand. And greater than you can ever desire. Most of the time on the other side of fear is greatness, I think. Yeah.
So I know many listeners are like, okay, where can I find Bree? So can you let the listeners know where they can find you and what you have to offer?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we did today, I offer Akashic Record readings, which is a reading of your soul and past lives and future timelines. I also do sacred energy healing, as well as manifestation and alignment coaching. You can find me on social media, Instagram and TikTok at Soul and Luna Healing. It's SOL and LUNA Healing. And as well, online, you can find me at soulandlunahealing.com.
So all of that will be in the show notes so that it's easily clickable and they're able to get in contact with you. As you heard in this reading, there was nothing performative, there was nothing fixed. Bree did this all as if I had just clicked on her website and came in as a client. I want to thank you for, offering to show the listeners what you have, what's available, sharing your grandfather's story. What you were saying was matching some of mine. I had lesions in my brainstem and a cerebellum, and my body shut down, and I was told I was only going to live for 6 months. And yeah, and when I learned meditation and went within, things started reversing. And as the neuroscience and the neurologist, like, I don't know how it got there and I don't know how it reversed, but whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. It sounds like some mindfulness. And I was always like, don't you want to know more? Doesn't medicine want to study in this? So that has been one of my blockages too, of thinking, I'm a test subject. You would want to inquire more about this, yet also recognizing you're outside of the box of that. A lot of this connection resonated in a deep way. I want to thank you, Bree, for all that you bring into the world.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
Please remember to be kind to yourself.
Hey, you made it all the way here. I appreciate you and your time. If you found value in this conversation, please share it out. If there was somebody that popped into your mind, take action and share it out with them. It possibly may not be them that will benefit, it's that they know somebody that will benefit from listening to this conversation. So please take action and share out the podcast. You can find us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok under LiftOneSelf. And if you want to inquire about the work that I do and the services that I provide to people, come over on my website. I'm into a discovery call, LiftOneSelf.com. Until next time, please remember to be kind and gentle with yourself. You matter.